Probably there are few works that have had the impact on American school children that The Crucible has had. It's virtually on everyone's reading list, and I'm sure you must take some pride in the attitudes that may have been shaped and formed by that work.
Well, that is one work that you could say teaches in that sense. But to me, the story of Salem does teach us.
Yes.
They did it before I started writing plays about it. A play about it. Nobody can read just the bald facts of that history without saying, well, it's not such a great idea to get hysterical publicly about some public fear lest innocent people get killed. And in that sense, it's a teaching play.
Do you feel that what you're working on now is also in the teaching vein?
You know, we're all teaching in the sense that you have a view or an image of life which you think you've discovered, and so you want to convey it. And that's an act of teaching, I suppose, an illumination of some kind.
Do you keep up with and try to evaluate what's happening in American drama today?
Only to a certain extent. I can't stay with the theater all the time. I never did. But there we have talented writers.
Are there any that you can identify that you think
well,
are
I'd
ones
rather
to
not
watch?
name any names, but our problem is not what they say it is. They say there's no writers. That isn't true.
Not lack of product for Broadway, then?
No. Well, Broadway doesn't want their product. That's what the problem is. Broadway is so highly overpriced. The risk of doing anything with the slightest seriousness is too great. The man putting his money into this is terrified of the costs.
Is Broadway then no longer the benchmark by which we have to
It isn't.
judge
It hasn't been for years.
drama?
No,
But you still work there.
Most of the stuff on Broadway now comes from the regional theaters.
Or from England, perhaps. Is there any
Or
danger
England.
that we're becoming too anglicized in our theater?
Well, the English claim that they're becoming too Americanized. We have a lot of American plays running in England, both new and old ones. We're not lacking for plays. We're lacking for a production system, in New York I'm speaking of, which makes it possible to produce plays. It's impossible now.
What's the answer to that problem? Is there an
I
answer?
think, first of all, before you can solve a problem, you have to look at it. And nobody's willing to do that because the thing is in the hands of gamblers, really. They're very nice fellas.
Very speculative, though.
But they're speculators.
Sure.
And if you try to stop that game, there's an instinctive revulsion against anything that smacks of rationalism. And they don't want anything to do with that. I was involved with the original Lincoln Center group, hoping that we would establish a national theater out of Lincoln Center. We could have done it. We had a marvelous group of actors. It was too small a group for a repertory company.
Very distinguished directors as well, and playwrights.
We had everybody. And they poured, I don't know how many tens of millions into buildings, but they wouldn't pay any actors.
Has that been the trouble throughout the history of the Lincoln Center? Several managements have tried to make a success of that, have all failed.
You can make a success of it. They even blamed the design of the theater until Peter Brook came with this production of Carmen and said this is one of the most beautiful theaters in the world.
Are you hopeful
then they all got quiet. They suddenly got quiet and said, well, maybe it isn't the theater. They'll blame the ushers. They'll do anything.
Do you think we will ever have a national theater in this country?
No, not for a long time, because for some reason, I shouldn't say no, it won't come quickly. See, we'll subsidize ballet and subsidize various other arts, orchestras, but the theater, we think, should make money, because it has made money. See, you've never made any money on a symphony orchestra, you've never made any money on most ballets.
But you make money only on 1/10 or 1/20 of the theatrical
well,
product.
everybody forgets that 99% of these plays didn't make any money, and that you can't run. For example, if you want to do a revival of any of the masterpieces, which people ought to have the right to see, just as you should have a library where you can go and read Tolstoy or Shakespeare or something. You can't expect to run that thing for a year and make money on it. Therefore, you don't get it. You have to go to England and bring in an English company for which the British people have paid.
Are you optimistic in general about the future of this country?
If we don't destroy the world, yes.
You think we can avoid doing that?
It's very delicate, it's very chancy. I just see this morning that the New York Times, according to the newscast, I didn't read this, says that we've been secretly testing atomic bombs in Nevada for the last year. And I think if the idea continues on both sides, that they're going to compete and compete and compete and compete, something's going to go off. Unless the idea returns that really lay behind the revulsion toward war that came after the Second World War, which resulted in the establishment of the United Nations, which incidentally did a lot of good in the world, along with a lot of stupidity. Unless that feeling comes back that we simply cannot permit another war.
Is there a book or a play in the making on that theme?
No, I wouldn't write about it probably. But unless that concept returns and wipes out the concept that we're going to secure the peace by competing in war, that's what we're all up to now. We're competing like some kind of athletic contest. Then I think we may be doomed.